first article reads as follows. This is from Sport Bible. Huge EFL club left in crisis as 6 players handed notices days into pre-season. Championship club Sheffield Wednesday have been plunged into further crisis as 6 players have now handed their notice in, a new report has claimed. Wednesday were handed a 3-window transfer embargo by the EFL last month after owner Des Chansiri again failed to pay salaries in time. The club also owe money to HMRC and currently do not have any pre-season friendlies scheduled despite returning to training. The Telegraph report that 6 unnamed players have now handed in their notices to leave the club. FIFA rules state that a player can hand their notice in if they are not paid salaries on the correct date in 2 consecutive months, which was the case in May and June. Another article from Give Me Sport states that Windass among several Sheffield Wednesday players seeking exit. Forward Josh Windass is among a handful of Sheffield Wednesday players to inform the club they want to leave due to persistent late payments of wages, sources tell Give Me Sport. With financial uncertainty around the club, Windass is among 5 or 6 players to inform Wednesday of their desire to leave. He became the club's leading scorer this century with a goal on the final day of the championship season last year and is likely his final match for the club. The forward loves the fans and the club, but is now ready to leave due to the uncertainty. Most clubs in the Championship are alert to Windass's situation now that he could potentially be signed for free or a cut rate deal. We'll talk about Windass a little bit separately because I've got my views on that last paragraph specifically. But notices. Me and Jake talked about this happening and it was going to happen, and we were like, is there a way they could save it happening? And it's happened, Jack. So off you go.
Well, the only way that they could save it from happening is selling the goddamn club. But obviously, apparently, even though you're in financial strife, that's off the table. Apparently, or sorry, not off the table, but for the right offer to the right person. Is it hell? It's all about the amount. It's all about the money. All of the price of the entire club needs to be this unrealistic level to cover what has been clearly shown in the club's books year after year as the personal debts to Chansiri. That's why it's at an unrealistic price, and that's why no one's going to buy it. And the only way to solve this issue is by selling it on. But apparently, that's too much of a difficult task, even when there's all of this interest and all of these offers coming in at a market value for the club in its current state. But no, apparently that's not good enough. And it's causing turmoil. Like, we are plunging down the leagues now because of this sort of situation. And this won't just be this year. This is going to carry on until it's someone new that owns the club. But no, apparently, fine, let's just not pay the players. Let's not pay the employees. Like, you're legally obliged to do so by UK law. But no, let's just not pay them 2 months in a row. Like, it's a farce. It's a joke. And
do you blame the players, the 6 players that are unnamed apart from Windass, for handing in their notice in this situation? I guess that's the
not
question.
in the slightest. Not in the slightest. I applaud them. I actually applaud them for having the courage to make a move like this, to say this is ridiculous. And like, wouldn't you though, if you hadn't been paid 2 months in a row, and you know that you'll be having a job somewhere else because you're a championship football player or whatever, or like that level in your particular field, and you know someone's going to sign you if you leave your current place of work or whatever, you'd do the same. Anyone would do the same. Anyone listening or watching on YouTube, whatever, would do exactly the same in their job roles. I do not blame them in the slightest, and anybody that gives them any stick needs to really give their head a wobble, because you do the same thing if your employer didn't pay you for 2 months and then was constantly making excuses of like, oh no, it's coming. Oh, don't worry, it'll come eventually. Okay, great. When is it? You're meant to be multi-millionaire football club owner. Where's the money?
I'll play devil's advocate. There's only 6 out of the players that are there.
Yeah,
you've got to say that. Bannon is not even in contract and he's there.
But then again, like, look how many we've released as well from that first team squad. There's not really many first teamers that are left. And the people,
if we're looking at loyalty sort of thing to the club, not specifically to the wages, if we take the wages aside, because yes, I'm going to play devil's advocate for the sake of the topic.
Yeah.
very well paid players that could sustain themselves for a long time. Yes, they've got mortgages, etc. But they know the situation they're going to leave the club in if they walk, with their transfer values, things like that. There's that side of it. It's a case of, well, it's only 6 players. So do they have their heart in the club is the question that could be asked. I will say my personal opinion is I can't blame them given the state of the club. What I would say is it also puts pressure on the club even more, because actually I believe the legalities of this is if they are cleared within the 14, 15 days, if the wages are then paid, the notice is automatically rescinded.
Null and void.
Yeah. So it's actually putting pressure on the club in that regard. And I would like to find out who the players are. Just to have been nosy.
I mean,
knew Windass would be one of them. This is the thing. This is the line I want to talk about now.
Yeah.
The forward loves the fans in the club, but is now ready to leave due to the uncertainty. That's load of bull. Do you know why? Because Windass wanted to leave before all of this.
But as well, all of this now that's happening is in the public eye. This sort of tomfoolery, I'll call it, to, not swear. This sort of tomfoolery has been going on for years. It's not even the first time that he's not paid the players. He last did it in the relegation season when we would, deducted all the points. And he did it, I think, in the first season of League One as well. So Windass has been here through all of that, all the crap, and
true.
Maybe he's just had enough.
Again, Windass and his agent working overtime, mate. To put himself in the window, because he talked about. I don't forget that at the end of the last season, when his contract was triggered, he was talked about being held hostage. He wanted to go off. This is another example of a player that, well, Windass doesn't want to be here. It's quite obvious. This is another way of him saying, "Oh, yeah, I want to leave because of this." So I'm in the shop window. I'm one of the players. I don't mind if I am the name out there, because then the clubs can circle and go, "Oh, we'll have Windass." And yeah, I guess that it's no surprise to me that he's the one that pops up. I like Windass for what he's done for the club, sort of thing, but it does always seem to be his name in these situations. And what I will say is the vultures are circling now anyway.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've already lost one coach to Rangers, haven't we? So that's...
Yes. Yeah. Which is in the article, which is in the document, which we'll get to later. But the vultures are circling, looking at the specifics of Wednesday are going to be in a situation where players leave. They're going to pick at the bones.